Okay, I have tried like crazy to learn how to add voice to YouTube after I've already goofed up. Last week, I showed you progress in my art journals, and I worked on 3 different journals last week, and I was not happy as I did it, but I got happier. I'll just give you a glance at my finished gather page, and let's see. This was my, whoop, oh, I got a little sticky there. This is my beginning of my travel journal. And the one I wasn't happy with at all, but I liked it after a while. It's in my practice close to my heart journal. This is the one, let's see, get some light there, where I added some music and color. And I learned a lot through this process, but then I made the video as I did it and no voice. So today I'm going to share the screen and make a voiceover that way, since I can't figure it out on YouTube. Take a minute. Share this. Yeah. Get rid of the dark color. And I will try to talk over this video I made. So I'm putting on an apron. I decided that I couldn't always wear grub clothes, and I don't have that many grub clothes. And I want to show you how I use paper or enlargements of Bible verses on tissue paper. And I tried that, but it was actually too thin. So I ended up using regular typing paper to add to my projects. And I did 2 different sizes. I did, I think, 12 font and 14 font, and I ended up using the 12. I started by using my typewriter, and then my carriage seemed to give me trouble. So this shows you the 2 different sizes. And I ended up using coffee. This is instant coffee. I keep this little jar in my room. It doesn't get moldy or anything. It's probably about 4 months old. And I just painted it with a paintbrush, and I just whipped over the typing paper and let it dry. And I love the color. The color is much better than it would be just white on the journals. The journals have a lot of old pages added to them, and I really like the color. How I attached it was I used the acrylic medium gel. Acrylic medium matte gel is how I attach them, and you'll see this momentarily. So I really don't think I'm going to try to do too many videos without voice, because I was a little frustrated. So I talked about cutting out these big journey letters, and I really liked the color brown. And now I'm going to add the Bible verse to the inside cover of my album. Oh, I'm tearing it. I'm not really good at tearing. So I first cut it out around it, and then I just made the edges rough. So that's what I'm doing here, is I'm tearing off the edges of my Bible verse. So this is a little strange, watching my own video and adding a voiceover. I want to see if I can also learn how to speed up the videos, because sometimes the process takes a long time. So I don't know if I added into the edges or not. I can't remember. Let's see, I do it. I ended up putting it in the middle of the page, and I'm pretty sure, nope, I didn't use ink. On the outside of the pages, I'm going to be adding Distress Oxide, and I used Vintage Photo. So here I'm just brushing on the acrylic gel underneath. Placing it down. A gentle burnish with my fingers. And then I paint over the edges and all over the top. And I found that worked out really, really well. I might add some regular journaling to this page. I definitely want to add dates, dates when I finish the page, and also when I'm adding the photos of where I'm going, dates on that too. Okay, now I'm using the vintage photo distressing. And I used a dome applicator. And even though it's paint on all the rest of the page, I felt the brown highlighted the colors of the suitcases and the journey sign and even the compass rose on the top corner. Here I'm talking about adding washi tape. Those are those vintage cameras on that washi tape. And I put just a little bit of ink around the edge. I noticed that right away I got brown on the cover, so I just quit adding the ink. And that's all I did for that page. Of course, the gel has to dry, so I put it aside and I went to the next album. Okay, this was my Be Beautiful album. I had added a butterfly, or I was going to add a butterfly. That's what I'm doing here. I decided there's going to be photos in my journals. So I put the word memory. I'm going to put the word memories on it. Let's see. I think I still have Bible Wizard I shared. This is the Bible verses, and the little one in the middle says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. Philippians 4:13. And the one that I put in the beautiful book was, thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Isaiah 26:3. So here I'm painting again the matte medium in the corner and adding my word memories. This was just a piece of digital paper that I cut out. I think by Gina, Happiness. No, I don't remember. Happiness in Crafting or something. A free weekly digital paper that she does on Facebook. I can add a link to that so you can get on that Facebook group. It's really fun. So here I'm adding a butterfly. This is, again, a digital print I made. I ended up adding 2 butterflies, I think. And you know me, I like the rule of 3. So somewhere on here, there might be another butterfly added. I put so much gel medium there, so I took it off. And there goes the word gather. It's the first time I've used the tissue paper, which has archival ink on it, so it won't smudge when I add wetness to it. And it just says gather. Since I'm starting this book in the fall, I thought the theme of thankfulness and gratefulness would be good. Let's do next. I wanted to add more flowers. The flowers didn't stand out really well. This is a Tim Holtz cutout. It's one of my favorite wildflowers. And I like the flower cutouts, and I'll probably use them again and again. And because I put it on at the beginning, right after I put my white gesso, it wasn't really, it got covered a little bit. So I thought I'd add a couple more to let them show a little bit more. Now, as I'm learning this, I had already added texture paste, and you can see that on the videos. And I painted over the texture paste on this one. And I'm going to let that dry. I think when the final one comes out, I ended up by suggestion of a couple ladies in class, I added one more little flower above the Bible verse. And I really like that. And I added the butterfly. Okay, this was one I didn't like at all. It was too busy. And I don't know. Here, the brown tied it together. So again, I went back to the vintage photo, used the dome applicator, and put it around the edge. Oh, right now I'm adding more flowers. I did try to stick to an odd number, and I thought they showed a little bit more on the top layer. I even put those flowers on before I added the texture paste, and I think it got a little bit muted. So discovering how to do this without muting all my accents is something I'll be learning. The other thing I didn't tell you about on the Be Beautiful album was there was still some white gesso, and that's when I use my personal handwriting. I think it needs a little touch of me on there. So I have a triple layer stamp here of a birdie that I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite close to my heart stamps. And I'm going to attach that with a matte medium too. And I wasn't sure how the dye inks would take the liquid, but you'll see they go on quite well. Again, just putting a very simple glop of matte medium. Took too much, so I took it off the tissue paper here and spread it around where my flower is going underneath. I couldn't decide what color. I decided to go with green on one side and Harbor blue on the other. And I probably should have held that. Yeah, there we go. Hold it in place as I put it on. And you cover the whole thing with this clear, sort of translucent matte gel. Now I'm adding another white, yellow flower, a golden flower. And probably last but not least, did we already do the green one? There goes the green one. It's sort of weird watching your own video after and trying to talk to it. I made this almost a week ago. I did it last Thursday morning, and I don't quite remember all the steps even. Okay, here comes my birdie, and I was really afraid it was going to smudge, and it did not. So I think if your dye ink is dry, especially with 3 layers like this, there was no difficulty with it smudging. And I thought it just gave a nice highlight for that bird up in the corner. I'm not sure what else I'm going to be doing here. So I'm going to tell you about my next plan. I sort of had a hard week last week. My older brother died, and I had to deal with some hospice issues before he died, and of course the grief of him dying. And I thought of that bird, and one of my favorite verses is about how God watches over the sparrows and the birds of the air. And so I think this week I'm going to start concentrating on, let's just stop that for a moment.
Okay,
What?
this is
That didn't work.
nice and dry. I have my,
Let's escape here and I'll stop that. The share. Hopefully the voice won't go in. So I think my next project for my art journal is going to be about my brother. His name is Larry. And I really love the verse about God watching over us. So I'm going to use that as my Bible verse. And I'm going to take some pictures of when Larry was young and when Larry was old, and then older. He died the day after his birthday. He just turned 70 last Friday, and he died early Saturday morning. And he loved cars. He liked to fix cars, and he worked on foreign cars. And so I'm going to take a picture of when he was young with a small car, and then a picture of his Miata that he's been fixing up. But I thought by putting my thoughts down on paper about his life and his death, that would be an encouraging way to add to my journal, get me off the art a little bit, and get me on to my mission. So stay tuned for my next video on art journaling. It will use some of the same techniques I use, because now that I know how to do them, I'll try to do it a little more personal. So meanwhile, have a great day. I'll see you at Friendship tomorrow when we're working on the pages of our box journal.